FS1 in their lawsuit. Defendants Joy Taylor, Skip Bayless. There's some other people in there, Emmanuel Acho. They're accusing Skip Bayless of, sexual harassment with a hairstylist, offering her $1.5 million to be able to, have relations with him, sleep with him, all that stuff. And I'm just like, that don't sound like no damn Skip Bayless. He cheap as hell. Cheap as hell. Wear the same, beat up J's to Undisputed all the time. I can't see, but listen, I don't put it past anybody. And then the whole Joy Taylor situation, man, oh man, all the arrows and the bullets are flying her way. Yeah, Skip is in it. Yeah, you got some other people in it. Yeah, you got some executives in it. But all the arrows are really flying her way. But there's one person that I would love to talk to be able to get a handle of all of this. It's my good friend, 6 a million. We're going to call 6 right now on the phone. Here.
Yo.
6.
What's good, brother?
You are on the All Even podcast. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Is this the first phone a friend?
It definitely is. It's a long time that we've done a phone friend.
I feel like I'm making history here.
You brought back an oldie, but a goodie.
That's what's up, man. How you feeling? It's been a crazy week in the news cycle, bro.
It's been a crazy week in the news cycle. I mean, we've been talking, constantly about this situation. I know you have a better handle of it than I do right now. So tell me what you kind of understand about the entire lawsuit and what's going on and, what your feelings are in regards to the situation.
So about the lawsuit itself, it's like super interesting because it starts off really being like a lawsuit against Fox, but you kind of make it a class action suit, all the hairdressers and stylists, and then you have separate lawsuits and Skip Bayless. So this is kind of a biggie, and I think it's going to have a big effect on all broadcasting, however this gets settled, to be honest with you. So from what I've heard and read, there was a hairstylist. I don't want to mess up her name, so I'm going to call her Miss Faraji. She came into FS1 with Joy, being youngins in the game together. Joy just coming out of college, still doing bartending. I believe she did a little TV, but this was her first big gig. And befriended her hairdresser, Mrs. Faraji. So over the years, Mrs. Faraji got to witness the rise of Joy Taylor, if you will. So I believe the way it started was Joy, who was a married woman, and this is her right, but she was a married woman, started sleeping with Charles Dixon, who was the executive creative VP, I believe, up there at FS1. Sorry to not get it right. But yeah, they were hooking up for a little while, and it got to a point where when Miss Faraji used to hang out with Joy and her husband, she's now hanging out with Joy and Mr. Dixon, and didn't really know who this guy was. He was just kind of the older guy at the bar who was buying the drink. So about a year after Mr. Dixon and Miss Faraji bump into the elevator, he starts kind of flirting with her, and she goes to Joy, and she's like, hey, this guy's kind of flirting me. What's up with this?
My man was trying to get a threesome.
Listen, you borrow them vodka martinis, you're trying to do something, right?
Facts.
So she goes to Joy and lets her know, and Joy finally spills the beans. She's like, listen, don't say anything. This is kind of how things work in this business. He kind of helped me get to the spot that I was at. He actually suggested to Skip Bayless that Joy get on Undisputed. And if you watch the show, especially at the beginning, Skip is not a Joy fan. He used to say a lot of slick shit to her, give her crazy looks, cut her off. Shannon was cool with her, but Skip wasn't really with it. So after a while, she gets her own show, and she started cooking up with Acho. So her friend, the hairdresser, I don't want to keep mispronouncing her name, but she goes to Joy, and she's like, hey, watch out. You're kind of hooking up with two big guys at the company. It could get really dangerous for you. And then Joy puffs her chest out, which is the craziest part to me, because I want to give her all the consideration in the world. she's a woman. She should be able to sleep with whoever she wants to sleep with. But she says if Mr. Dixon starts to mess with me, I'm just going to say that he forced his way on me. I'm a big dog too. He's not going to big dog me out of this position, which is absolutely insane.
Mm.
Yeah. So as far as the Skip part, throughout this time, instead of hitting on Joy like everybody else is doing, Skip is hitting on the hairdresser. And he's pretty much propositioning her. You know, it starts with a little bit of flirting at first, but the more she resists, the more he's kind of into it. So at one point, I believe he says to her, or she says to him, "Hey, Skip, you have a wife?" And Skip replies with, "Well, you know, you're Muslim. Your father probably had 3 or 4 wives." And she immediately shut it down with, "My father's dead." And, you know, we've all pulled that before back in elementary school when somebody's cracking your mama jokes and you just had to shut them up.
Right.
So, like, that's kind of an old school, an old school trick that she pulled on him, which is crazy. But then apparently Skip, you know, never really stops, and he at one point grabs her ass and then propositions her for $1.5 million. That's the most unbelievable part of the story.
That's the same thing I said, Six. I'm just like, he wear the same old ass J's to Undisputed all the time. He not even buying no new joints. I don't believe that he giving nobody no 1.5.
Fact. But he might have been saying it facetiously. I think he might have been saying it jokingly. Because at a certain point, when you're flirting with somebody that much and they're not really giving you the response, you can either take it the creepy way and just like be extra creepy with it, or you can kind of just poke fun at yourself for trying so hard for so long.
Right.
And I don't know. I think he might have been facetious to say that. Just like, well, 1.5, you're going to go for that? Just kind of messing with her.
Yeah.
But so the lawsuit was really against Fox and Skip, but I think Joy is really catching the heat because of that one line in that statement. Because, you know, with the whole Me Too movement and women empowerment and believe all women, for you to say, oh, if he messes with me, I'm just going to call, you know, say that he forced himself on me, that's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And the craziest
it's diabolical.
The craziest part is she can actually still pull that stunt. She has her own podcast. She can still go on the podcast and say, yeah, that is what happened.
Right.
I did what I had to do to get my position, but, you know, I felt I was in a position where I had to do that. And people will sympathize with her. In this climate, I don't think anybody's sympathizing with Mr. Dixon. So.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think the end result of this is going to be? Do you think that FS1 is going to have to pull her off air, maybe let her go? Like, what do you think the most extreme side of it would be, and the most light side of it would be?
Well, I think the lighter side of it would be that be hard is that nothing happened.
Right.
Only reason I say it's going to be a little hard is because so many things are so well documented. She kept like a journal of this over the years. So it kind of gives a lot of credence to her story. But without any hard evidence, I can see this, maybe her getting a payday and this going away. And I think worst case scenario, they're going to have to part way with Joy.
Right.
Skip already left. Mr. Dixon, I'm not sure of his position at the company anymore. He might have already been out. Joy's the on-air personality, and she's going to be the face of this.
Right. And
nothing to do with exactly what she did, but in a lawsuit like this, corporate's just going to want to get away from her.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, on the extreme side, obviously, and we're not saying that anything is true or not or whatever it is. These are all allegations, and we have to see how it plays out, but it's on the extreme side, hypothetically, if this were to happen that way, you know, this is devastating for the remainder of her career. You know what I mean? Because of how she, you know, kind of puts herself out there. How, you know, her way of speaking, you know, posting, all of these things, people are going to look at her and be like, okay, you want a new situation. Well, how'd you get there? Right. And that's the fucked up part about it, is that you don't want to ever think about a woman like that. But when a woman potentially does do that, what else can you say? You know what I'm saying? Like you have to lead with that, because she's kind of literally put it in your face all of these years. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, she dresses provocatively, which, I'm a man, I'm going to love it, but at the end of the day, it's other women attacking her now.
Right.
And they have attacked her in the past for code switching.
Facts.
Because I don't know if you realize, the way she was talking on Colin's show and Undisputed when she was a moderator, not the way she was talking when she was the second mic and the first mic on her own show.
100%.
She's kind of blacked it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of our sisters have called her on that. So I could definitely see her. I wouldn't want her to because I don't think there's something you should lose your job over. But I could definitely see Fox parting ways with because it's just corporate.
Oh yeah.
Like they're not going to stick with that.
They're going to have to, they got to protect their brand. You know, the Fox brand is a very big brand, no matter if their sport division is not what it, you know what I mean? But it's still a very big brand and they don't want anybody jeopardizing that. So, you know, it's unfortunate that this particular thing has leaked and came out. But you know, if there was some nasty work that was going on behind the scenes, I mean, some people gotta, you know, they gotta kind of jump on the sword, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like Acho's safe, even though as crazy as his part of it is in it. I think he's safe.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be sweeping changes in the industry because part of the lawsuit was that Skip would contact Mrs. Faraji outside of the dressing room because they actually keep mics and cameras in the dressing room to literally prevent this sort of thing.
Wow.
So the fact that he's accosting her in the dining hall or in the hallway, texting her at home, like it could get ugly.
Yeah, it definitely gonna get ugly for Skip because Ernestine gonna bust his ass. Ernestine gonna bust his ass. She gonna work him out. Work him out.
Right.
You better make sure you stay on that treadmill because she gonna work him out.
I'm gonna give Skip the benefit of the doubt because I don't like this whole thing that the internet does. Once you get accused of something, people start looking for reasons why you should have been accused.
Oh yeah.
Now they talk about my man's face and how dry his skin is, and nothing about Skip over his 20-year career on TV. Now we don't know these people,
right?
But sometimes you can get an indication of somebody's behavior when you talk for 3.5 hours every single day. Your personality is gonna leak out.
Right, absolutely. And listen, he's been in the public space for 40 plus years now, right?
Yeah, and for this something to happen this late in his career, I think maybe he might have got a little flirty with the hairdresser, but I do think SH might be a little far. Now, if he put his hands on her, cups her butt, this is 2025, you're going to have to pay for that. But I'm not going to tarnish that man's image over him getting a little flirty at 73.
Yeah, I mean, you know how them old heads be, man. They a little loose with it. You know what I'm saying? They see a young girl and they just think that this is 1997 all over again. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not the way it works nowadays. You can't even tell a girl nowadays you got a nice dress on. They're gonna look at you sideways. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you an old skeleton. When you're an old skeleton dude looking like Skip. So it's it's unfortunate. Like I said, we gotta see how this plays out. But I think the biggest blowback from this is with Joy. I think all the arrows are pointed at her because of how she is and the bravado that she kind of puts out there. You know, she talking wild on her podcast, like if a man got money, all your morals go out the window and type of like all of those receipts are starting to come up now, and it's like, what are we really doing? Like, were you telling us what you were doing? You know, why you were doing it?
Like I just said,
you know what I'm saying?
Somebody who talks 3 hours a day, every day, they're going to tell you who they are.
Facts.
The receipts exist because you are this person.
Yeah.
So the same way I don't feel like there's enough receipts on Skip to put that on him, there's more than enough receipts on her to be like,
100%. To the pat there. Listen, remember, her and Taylor Rooks was doing that pod, and Taylor Rooks said, "You know what? I'ma just exit out the back door. I'ma just exit out the back door because you ain't gonna catch me in this. It's not gonna be me." You know what I'm saying? So we gonna see how this shit play out, my man Six. But I appreciate you chiming in, man. You know, you always bring the facts, always bring the knowledge, man. It's always good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, my brother. Be up. Be good. Be safe.
All right, my guy.
Later.
Yeah, so that was Six breaking it down, man. I mean, what are your thoughts on that Silent Assassin? Do you believe any side of this? Do you think that any of it could be realistic, could be true? And if so, you know, what are your thoughts? Obviously, you are a woman in the working field and in that you know, in the entertainment industry in regards to certain things. So like, you know, how do you feel about hearing something like that?
I think obviously it definitely happened, so I don't see it not being true or not, but on the side of trying to kind of purposely sleep your way up to the top, I'm
Yeah.
not really with that.
Yeah.
And kind of the whole like what Six was talking about, how she kind of made comments like, okay, like we're doing this for like our benefit.
Yeah.
I
Like you
just
need to get on board.
yeah, like I'm not really a big fan of that. And
Right.
being like a woman, like I would never do that. I wouldn't really encourage my friends to do that. And even if someone said that to me, I'd be like, nah, like I'm not. I want to work. I want to earn my
Right.
way there and not kind of sleep with somebody or do something
Right.
that it's the integrity of it too. Like I'm in this position, I want to earn my way.
Yeah, you
there,
want to earn
so.
your keep. You want to
Yeah.
you want to be there for your talent of what your job is,
Yeah.
not your talent also. You know what I'm saying? It's like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So it's like, man, like the more videos I see about this,
Mhm.
obviously everybody's just like they're throwing their allegations out there. They're throwing their opinions. This is an opinion situation, but you know, it's a 41-page document. It's well documented. It's very, very detailed, and it's just like, damn, you look crazy if you over here telling somebody else that you need to get on board. This is kind of how it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for a very long time before kind of like the boom of women in sports, you know, it was always that cliche of, well, how did she get there?
Mhm.
Right? What did you do to get here?
Mhm.
And women have had to fight really hard in the sports space to be knowledgeable, to be well respected, to be known for what they're saying in regards to their views and not what they're wearing and how they look
Mhm.
or what they're pushing up on you, right? So they had to really work hard to get to that point and to see this potentially come out as the old guard really sucks.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because it kind of sets the entire movement back.
Definitely a big pushback, especially
Yeah.
the whole Me Too movement. Like this is not the case if she was obviously a part of it and she was
Right.
okay with it and everything, but it's like you're a woman, you should be on our side and
Yeah.
not trying to use men. Like it also too, like that's like messed up on like, oh, he's rich and successful, let me, you know, give him a little something and I can
Right.
you know, I don't agree with any of
Yeah.
that
And
either.
then also too, kind of use it as like, oh well, if he tries to jam me up, I'm gonna just say that he forced himself.
Yeah, no, that's
like
no.
You know, like that's a nightmare situation for a
Mhm.
man. I'm just telling you personally, like
Mhm.
you don't never want to be in a situation like that. I've never been, but like thinking about it, being with somebody and knowing that it was consensual, and then all of a sudden they just jump out the window with this. He It's
Yeah.
like, come on now, you're literally destroying my life and my career by you just not wanting to take accountability because you're fearful of, you know, backlash in your family or your community or your job or your whatever it is. Like you're literally putting somebody's livelihood at risk, and not only their livelihood but their freedom,
Yeah.
right?
Over
So
something that's never happened.
exactly. So that's nasty work. Nasty work. So, you know, Acho looked like he's safe. Shannon Sharp said, "This ain't got nothing to do with me, so don't even ask me no stupid questions about this." And like I said, if this is true and Skip was over here squeezing butts, Ernestine gonna bust his ass.